After Jesus was condemned by Pontius Pilate, he was led away to be crucified. And a man named Simon of Cyrene was drafted by the soldiers to help him carry his cross. And they came to Golgotha, which is the place of the skull. And the soldiers offered Jesus bile to drink, but he refused. And there Jesus was crucified, undergoing a cruel, painful, humiliating death. Matthew records these words. 2 rebels were crucified with him, one on his right and one on his left. Those who passed by hurled insults at him, shaking their heads and saying, "You who are going to destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself. Come down from the cross if you are the Son of God." In the same way, the chief priests, the teachers of the law, and the elders mocked him. "He saved others," they said, "but he can't save himself. He's the King of Israel. Let him come down now from the cross, and we will believe in him. He trusts in God. Let God rescue him now if he wants him, for he said, 'I am the Son of God.'" In the same way, the rebels who were crucified with him also heaped insults on him. From noon until 3 in the afternoon, darkness came over all the land. About 3 in the afternoon, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, "Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani," which means, my God, why have you forsaken me?" And when Jesus had cried out again in a loud voice, he gave up his spirit. Matthew's crucifixion account is filled with irony. The sign which was placed above Jesus' head, which was meant to mock him, read, "King of the Jews," and yet Jesus really was the King of the Jews. Those who laugh at his claim to be able to destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days fail to realize that in 3 days, the Father in heaven would rebuild the temple of his body and would raise Jesus from the dead. The religious leaders call on Jesus to come down from the cross if he really is the Son of God. And yet, if Jesus had done this, neither they nor we would be able to receive salvation. And the criminals who are at his sides, who mock him, fail to realize that they are making fun of the Creator of the universe. Jesus on the cross took on all the pain, all the suffering, and all the sins, not only for us, but of all peoples who have ever lived. He went through this willingly so that we might find redemption and receive forgiveness of sins and have our relationship with God and others restored. Christ went to the cross for us out of his great love for us. And because of that love and that sacrifice, we love others and we sacrifice our lives for God and for others. We give up our sin, our pride, and all that charms us most so that we can find a life filled with meaning in loving God, loving others, and serving him. Solomon Rosenberg and his wife and 2 sons and his father and mother were placed in a Nazi concentration camp in World War II. And the rules of this concentration camp were simple. As long as you could still do your work, you were allowed to live. But if you could no longer work, you would be exterminated. Sadly, Rosenberg watched his father and mother be marched off to their deaths. And he knew that his youngest son, David, would likely be next, because David, though a precious child, had always been frail and weak. And each day Rosenberg came back from a hard day's labor. He would search for the faces of his family, and he would find them, and they would huddle together, and there they would thank God for another day of life. One evening, Rosenberg came back, and his worst fears were realized. He looked around frantically for his youngest son, David, and he saw his oldest son, Joshua, huddled, crying in a corner. And he came up to him, he said, "Joshua, please tell me it's not true." And Joshua, crying, said, "Oh, Papa, it is true. David was too weak, and they came for him to take him away. And Rosenberg looked around and said, "But where's your mother?" And he said, "Oh, Papa." David was so afraid. He was crying. And Mama said, "David, there's nothing to worry about." And she took him by his hand and went with him. Jesus said that when he would be lifted up, he would draw all people to himself. And indeed, there is something about the cross that draws us together. And at the cross, we become that loving, Christ-centered community. John's gospel tells us that when Jesus was on the cross, he said to his mother, "Mother, behold your son." And to John he said, "Behold your mother." At the cross, we become a Christ-centered family, bound together by Christ's love and sacrifice for us. The cross is at the heart of the redemption story. So how about you? What does the story of the cross mean for your life? How does it impact you? And what is it you feel that God is calling you to do in response?